Murphy Brown is a Tchaikovsky English production in association with Warner Brothers Television and is distributed by Warner Brothers Domestic Television Distribution.
The Angels take on the Jays Wednesday at 8:30 on ATV.
Tonight, millions worldwide celebrate Easter. Then, was it a false confession?
A client calls our number and they go right through to a veterinarian. There's no secretary or answering service.
And Dial-A-Vet.
Live from the ATV News Center and every city and town in the Maritimes. Jonathan Gravener, Janice Landry. This is the ATV Evening News.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Janice Landry. Jonathan Gravener has the weekend off. Across the Maritimes, churches were packed today as Christians celebrated the event at the core of their religion. Some congregations across our region say they had their biggest Easter turnout in years. ATV's Jonathan Kay joins us live from Halifax now. And Jonathan, does this mean church-going may be on the rise?
Well, church leaders and volunteers believe it is, Janice. They say after a few decades of turning away from the church, people seem to be coming back. Families are reviving traditions that include being together in church on Easter morning. Charlotte and Jamie Cochran are regular churchgoers, but they don't see their adult sons, John and Rob, in church as much as they'd like. This Easter Sunday, though, they're all sitting right in front.
Oh, yes, it's a family tradition, most definitely.
Happy Easter. Anglican Bishop Arthur Peters says more and more families are reviving church-going traditions, partly because churches are doing a better job, but also because people are facing a lot of uncertainty.
When times are difficult and times are particularly rough, that people look at and assess and look for those values that are eternal, looking for meaning and purpose and substance in life.
While Bishop Peters was celebrating communion here, a few blocks away, his Roman Catholic counterpart, Archbishop Austin Burke, was doing the same.
Peace be with you.
Priests here say they had a record turnout today, standing room only.
Overflowing, and practically right to the door of the church here, eh?
And here in Sydney, families were out in their Easter best at St. George's Church. Priest Laurie Ramsey says she also has noticed this Easter's attendance is higher than in past years.
I'm seeing a slight and steady increase, and certainly the participation of the people who are here is second to none.
The Easter Sunday crowds are an important recruiting opportunity for churches. Most of us think of Christmas as the biggest festival of the Christian year, but Easter is the most important. Today, churches are focusing on the resurrection, the religion's fundamental belief.
It's a much less secular festival than Christmas. Christmas has really lost a good deal of its spiritual significance, and people are under a lot of pressure to visit and to make preparations, whereas there's not so much of that at Easter, and I think that they have the space to actually think about the spiritual dimension of it.
Charlotte Cochran says that's one of the things she likes about Easter. It's an opportunity for church, followed by a day of family togetherness.
We'll go home, and as soon as I can get it ready, we'll have a nice big Easter dinner, and today happens to be my son's birthday, so that'll make it extra special.
So church workers and volunteers are encouraged by this trend. Bishop Peters says it presents a real challenge for people such as himself who are in the pulpits. Getting people into those front doors is a big step, but it's just the first step to getting them to come back again.
That's right, Jonathan. Thank you very much. Let's take a look at Easter celebrations around the world now. In Vatican City, Pope John Paul II held an Easter Mass for thousands of worshipers at St. Peter's Square.
E divina istituzione formati, audemus dicere.
He then delivered his traditional message to the city and to the world. In his annual message, the Pope prayed for peace. Recently, he's been weakened by health problems, but appeared fine throughout the Mass. In Jerusalem and Bethlehem, thousands gathered to celebrate Easter Sunday. In Jerusalem, bells rang out, summoning the faithful, but not all Christians were allowed to answer that call. That story is coming up. And we'll also take a look at the lighter side of Easter holiday traditions a little later this hour, but first, the regional news. Authorities are releasing few details about a drowning yesterday in Grand Digue, New Brunswick. One man was killed in what's believed to have been an accident in which a dinghy overturned. RCMP divers were in the waters off the Grand Digue Wharf this morning. No name has been released. And police are investigating the reasons behind the sudden death of a 17-year-old North Sydney youth. He died after falling from a roof of a house in Bredor, Nova Scotia. The youth was eventually airlifted to hospital in Halifax, where he succumbed to his injuries. Police have not released his identity. Fire investigators are still trying to determine what caused a fire that destroyed a motel in Miramichi, New Brunswick this weekend. Fire Chief Edward Duplessis says the 13-room motel was booked solid, but nobody was hurt in yesterday's fire. Damage is estimated at $500,000. Firefighters' efforts to save the building were hampered by high winds and a lack of water because the building sits just outside of city limits. New Brunswick's health minister can expect an earful this week when he meets a group of seniors upset at recent policies of the provincial government. They're upset the government might look to sell family homes to cover long-term care costs. Health Minister Russ King appears to have backed away from the idea, saying the proposal could be scuttled if it, quote, didn't add up. But King says with an aging population, the government must come up with ways to cover rising health care costs. Protesters who've been staging a sit-in at a Halifax employment center held an Easter dinner today for supporters of their cause.
And please have some while it's hot, because it won't stay hot for a long time. So.
The protesters are upset about the planned closure of the employment center on Gottingen Street. They say the closure will negatively affect the whole community, where there is a high rate of unemployment. They're looking for a promise from the federal government the center will stay as is, or else set up shop nearby in the same area. Well, first there was Dial a Doctor, then came Dial a Lawyer, and now if you have sick pets but you aren't sure what to do to make them feel better, you can call a vet. ATV's Laverne Stewart is in Fredericton, and Laverne, what is involved here?
Well, Janice, for $3.99 a minute, you can call a licensed vet and discuss your pet's health care needs. The vets involved say they can only give advice and not treat sick animals by phone.
Good morning, Dial a Vet.
Veterinarian Sean Smith is on call today. He's talking to concerned pet owners from across the region.
Why don't you bring him right in and we'll have a look at him? All right? Good. We'll see you in the clinic in about 15 minutes.
The Dial a Vet service is something Smith believes pet owners will welcome as an added way of taking care of their animals.
I was just trimming the sides of his right here and I thought, that wasn't his tongue. That was his tongue. Yeah.
Bonnie Culligan called the Dial a Vet service after she accidentally cut her poodle's tongue with a pair of scissors.
We were clipping his hair and he just stuck his tongue out and the scissors clipped the side of his tongue. Yeah, I didn't know what to do. You know, I thought, well, maybe it would heal or, you know, he was bleeding a little bit and I wanted to get him checked.
So you don't mind paying that $3.99 a minute?
No, not at all. It was worth it.
Bonnie, that's going to take about 2 or 3 stitches.
The Dial a Vet service is available to pet owners across the Maritimes, but the vets involved stress this is for non-emergency services only.
The only advice we can give them is based on the information that they give us. If they give us correct information, we'll tell them whether we think it's an emergency or not an emergency, and if it's an emergency, we refer them right to their family veterinarian.
If you have any problems, you know where to get a hold of me.
Yeah, sorry to bother you.
No problem.
Smith says an average Dial a Vet call ranges from 3 to 5 minutes and will cost between $12 and $20. What they're selling is advice and possibly some peace of mind for people who love their pets. And Janice, the vets involved say they're now trying to get this service into Quebec and as far west as Ontario. They came up with the idea after hearing the doctors in the Fredericton area were doing this across the country, and they thought if Dial a Doc can help people, why not Dial a Vet help sick pooches and cats?
Great idea. Thanks very much, Laverne.
Okay.
And a nice day across our region today. Time now for our first fast look at the weather with Phil. Is this beautiful weather going to last?
I wish I could say yes, it's going to last right through the upcoming week, but I'm afraid it's going to be the other way around. We're watching a major weather event to the south of the Maritimes, all over the Atlantic, and tomorrow for a spring day in the Maritimes looks like a spring of a different color. There's the big picture. We see the storm coming up the eastern seaboard, the one we have been following. Now the critical thing is its trajectory over the next 24 hours, just where it will go. We're looking at it on the pessimistic side, and with that we're going to be talking a heavy snowfall warning for tomorrow. Stay tuned.
Okay, we'll see you just a little bit later.
Okay.
And still to come tonight, the latest national and international news. But up next, a special story for this Easter weekend. A group of giving neighbors are helping a man who lost everything in a fire. That story is next.
For today's hard-working pro in the welding industry, Praxair offers the Purchase Assistance Program with no down payment, no interest, and no payment for 6 full months on the ESAP GT250 torch outfit, the Praxair complete package with gas cylinder lease torch kit and cart, or the Lincoln AC225 arc welding package. Fix that trailer, repair that car, and shop with a professional welder shop. Praxair, your link to the welding industry.
There are days you'd like to wave your magic wand and presto, all your little fairies would be happy. When it comes to dressing them, you don't need magic. You've always had Fabricville, and you always will. Fabricville, the fabric of your life for 25 years. Anniversary sale on now.
Looking for entertainment your whole family can enjoy every day of the year? Heaven Sent Satellite Systems offers personal cable systems at a price you can afford, starting as low as $33.15 a month plus taxes. We'll come to your home and do an on-site inspection, OAC. Receive your 1-year free TV guide, free installation, and a 5-year warranty. For more information, call your satellite experts at 1-800-726-VIEW. Heaven Sent Satellite Systems, serving Atlantic Canada.
Okay, everyone. Let's try one more time. 2 minutes to curtain, everyone. We've got to get ready. Place this.
Mr. Davis.
Tried, tested, and true. I know that you'll always come through.
If these children appear a little excited, it's because they are. 4-year-old Matthew and his friends Carolyn and Laura are burning off all the sugar they've been eating today. It was a warm day in Fredericton, so they decided to play on the swing set in Matthew's backyard. Their parents are relieved they wanted to play outside today. Like other kids across the region, the Easter candy is giving them a lot of extra energy. In December, the home of an elderly bachelor in Blue